My name is Mateusz Mazzini, and this is Wider View. Our main story tonight focuses on Chinese military doctrine. The conventional wisdom among Western societies is that although China has been gaining military strength in recent years, it still falls behind the capacities of the US and European powers. We also tend to think that all armies in the world are commanded the same way and follow the exact same principles. But the People's Liberation Army, as it is officially known, is governed by a different logic. China is already a military superpower and aims to strengthen its international position, although its methods are very different from the Western ones. How exactly does Beijing want to project influence onto other countries? We explore that first question in our next report.
2027 marks the centennial anniversary of the establishment of the People's Liberation Army. Over the last decades, its structures have undergone impressive modernization, allowing it to become one of the most powerful militaries globally. Beijing is already number 2 in the world when it comes to defense spending, second only to the United States. It's hard to say with any certainty how many active members the PLA has, but credible estimates have been published by Western think tanks. According to War on the Rocks, a defense news platform, the PLA now numbers around 2 million active duty personnel. If needed, that number could be significantly increased by over 1 million reservists. In addition, some 600,000 paramilitary troops are also trained and could be combat ready in a matter of weeks. Nobody could send more people to fight for their country than. But the power of the PLA lies not only in its extensive human resources. It commands a fleet of 4,000 aircraft, 2,500 of which are combat units. In recent decades, it's also modernized its navy and become a global powerhouse in semi-autonomous weapons. But at the same time, China has developed its own military strategy. It offers extensive training services for domestic security forces, such as police officers from other countries. It doesn't invest much in its military presence overseas, having just one foreign base in the African country of Djibouti. Defense and security are clearly among policy focuses, and it's high time the West paid more attention.
Is China a global military superpower? Are there any aspects in which it is already beating the United States or Europe? And what is it that the Chinese do differently compared to other players on the international stage? We still have a significant deficit of information on China, but our experts will help bridging that gap. I'm pleased to say, joining me tonight are François Godemont from Institut Montaigne in Paris, Professor Joachim Krups from the University of Leiden, and Suyash Desai, a research scientist in Taipei. Gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Wider View. And I wanted to begin with you, François, and ask you to kind of set the scene here for us. What are the main principles, the main foundations, if you please, of the Chinese strategic defense and military doctrine, and what are its primary objectives? So how does China aspire to both become or maintain the status of the military power domestically, but also project strength onto other places?
The PLA doctrine is evolving. It's no longer what it was 20 years ago. It was indeed strictly defensive and linked to the protection of China's economy, very integrated with the protection of China's economy, very land-based or based on just the surroundings of China. But in the past 25 years, China is perhaps the only country whose defense spending has risen every year, never opposed. Even if we take the base figure for China's military budget, it's risen at twice the rate of all its Asian neighbors on the average. So the situation has changed. In terms of projection, it is not yet a global military power.
How much of a technological leap did it experience over the last years or decades, in particular under? Is there a difference between how he approaches military modernization compared to other leaders?
Yes, there is a great leap forward in comparison to what was happening in the past and what is happening in the present. The Chinese military doctrine is based on the framework called active defense, which is in simple terms also known as offensive defense. Now, since 2016-2017, when China has started mobilizing its cyber and military power into active defense, they have leapfrogged into technological military, especially military technology. And this process started under in 2015, 2016, 2017. And now, for example, areas such as hypersonic technologies, in comparison, in military to military comparison, US is still very powerful. But if you compare some aspects of technological integration into Chinese military, China is leaps and bounds ahead of United States.